Good morning. How are you? Pardon me?
I said, please enlighten me on this. I'm curious.
What's it like being what?
Enlighten me on this. I'm curious.
Oh, enlighten you. Oh, okay. I'm glad you asked. Let me give you this. It's got a QR code on the back for a 2-minute 40-second video on all the baseline stuff about IVF. It's animated and it's satirical. Kind of poking fun at it, but it kind of shows what IVF is. Are you here for IVF today? Or?
Oh, I had my kids natural.
Oh.
I was blessed to have my babies.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Yeah, God gave me my kids. So,
yeah.
I'm like, dang.
Okay. So what are you doing here today, if I can ask?
Because I was curious about you.
Oh, you're just driving by?
Yeah, I was driving because I live right over there.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, what is this? I'm like, last I checked, people here are trying to get pregnant.
That's true.
Who wasn't fortunate like me,
right,
to have them natural.
That's right.
So I'm like, okay.
So what's happening?
Like the ones that don't want kids is Planned Parenthood.
Right, yeah.
Some of them want kids, some of them don't want kids. And sometimes it's not the girls, sometimes it's the guys who put them in there.
Yeah,
but they don't want to have them. Want them to have them because I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Why did you get them pregnant if you don't want them to have them?
That's a good point.
I'm like, that's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
I've never been so intrigued by stuff like this because I'm like, I never had to go through that.
Okay. Well, what happened? I don't know. Are you familiar with the IVF and what they do? Okay. So when they start out, they're taking they're fertilizing eggs under glass. In vitro means under glass. And what they're trying to do is create a bunch of embryos, so that they can find. Then they grade them. They grade them on a scale like A to F, sort of. And the top 2 grades are the ones that they'll try to implant. But the lower grades, they'll either donate to science or just destroy them.
Now, that's the part where they're killing them.
That's why we're doing this. And then the other thing that does happen, too, because they... sometimes we have a sign... Yeah, that one. Babies are frozen here. Once they have something successful, if they implant and they have some more embryos that still are viable, then they'll put them in these freezers, and they can end up in there for years. Sometimes the parents don't have the money to go forward with another procedure.
It
costs money, and and then after it costs money to keep them frozen. So then we have the forgotten here sign, because what that does is, they get forgotten. And so there's babies sometimes in those embryos in the freezers, not babies, embryos in the freezers.
They are.
But they are potential babies, right?
Yeah.
That's why we say that. Yeah. So it's life. It's human life. So then at that point, they can either, a lot of times what happens is they get abandoned because they can't afford it. And then they might send them out for scientific research, or there's some clinics that are just trying to figure out what to do with them. And so there's been cases where there's been embryos frozen for like 20 years or longer, and then somebody comes along and adopts the frozen baby and implants it, and they end up having a child that's really almost as old as they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that kind of weird?
Years old,
you could be
that's half my age right now.
How old
I don't look it. I'm 41 and a half. I'll be 42.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's great.
So, yeah, but that's half my age.
Yeah. So are you a believer? Are you a Christian?
I've always been. I'm born in a womb Christian.
Okay. So where do you go to church?
I go to church at Freedom Church.
Okay.
Over there next door to Half Price Books. Okay. Off of Harwood.
Okay, very good.
With Pastor Robert White. So
all right. Yeah, that's good. So that's great. So I'm gonna give you one of these anyway. It's got, mainly because it has my email on the back. So if you have any other questions about it, you can feel free to email me right there. And but it's a gospel message. You're familiar?
Oh yeah.
But this you should really check out. That is really is interesting.
Yeah, because I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, they're at the wrong spot.
Yeah.
The ones that don't want the babies.
Right.
Platohood.
Well, you know the
thing. And then when you said, I was like, oh, IVF, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're at the right spot.
That's really an interesting reaction. Yeah. People don't always do that. So. But we used to go.
Not too many people know. I love medical.
Oh.
So, yeah, I love medical. And I was like, Lord, I work with dermatologists. I work with skin doctors. So I work with them. Call them skin doctors. The ones that try to help us. Everybody says, some people have cancer and don't even know it. And so it's crazy. So I just, like I said, I love medical. I love God.
Wow.
And I've always been a firm believer, a strong believer. And like, cause the way I was raised in a church to where we don't believe in killing life.
Right.
We believe in you spread them, you have them, you take care of them. And so I deployed to serve this country. My family, arms wide open, they had no choice but to help me. When I raised everybody here, and they did too. You go deploy to take care of my kids. Why deploy and serve this country for you to keep your jobs? That's how I always thought it.
Yeah.
So I was like, they're like, okay, Keisha, all right. We're going to leave you alone. So, but yeah, I mean well, I mean hard. But yeah, I'm like, when I saw this, it made me want to cry. I'm like, that's why I reacted that way. I was like, they're at the wrong spot. Like, see, they turned this car around.
Right.
My son driving now. So I turned this car around.
Well, you know, everybody here we used to go to the abortion clinics here in Texas. They shut down when Roe was overturned. Planned Parenthood's still open, but they're not doing abortions. And so we were like, well, where do we go now? You know?
And they're not doing abortions. Right?
No. And so
I think they probably had a quiet turnaround on that one.
Yeah, I would say. So we were like, well,
they're just taking the pills to kill their babies.
Yeah, most of it's happening. Right, they can order them out of state and do it at home.
For the mothers, they can pay all 9 months.
Yeah, right.
To decide if they want a baby or not.
Just to kill the kids.
Yeah, chemically, it's terrible. But so there's still stuff to be done.
Yeah, but some of them don't want the babies. That's why they're taking the pills. Because
to kill it, yeah. I want to give it to somebody else. I'd rather kill it than adopt the baby.
Yeah. That's
People
crazy.
used to tell me that.
And you got a customer right there.
Yeah. He's calling out right over here.
Just call him out. I guess she wants to go.
No, this is kind of how it goes. Like they sometimes, like that's when you walked up. We've had that happen where people will come, but
but they're killing the babies, man. Yes, they are. Go ahead though. You might get one with your baby daddy. Go ahead.